right, afternoon. Just one roster announcement here. Jelani Tavai, he'll be placed on IR today. So shoulder injury in the game. So that's really all I have on that. Other than that, obviously, tough game yesterday. Thought the players played hard. Thought we had an opportunity to go out there and try to turn the game in our favor. Thought we missed a couple chances on the field to kind of take control of some things. Give Denver credit. Thought they made plays in certain situations when they needed to. They came up with those plays and we didn't. I'd say it was really in all three phases for me from that aspect of it, along with the coaching. I think we can do a better job with all of that, and we got to go out and have those opportunities. Certainly penalties late in the game, that doesn't help us. Field position, and then just overall execution. So things we can work on to obviously get better, but disappointed we didn't come home with the win. Thought we had a good opportunity and just didn't get it done. But other than that, I think the guys, continue to play hard, continue to play competitive. We had a couple injury situations through the course of the game, guys in and out and then back out on the field. That was, we were trying to manage as we went through the game. But I thought the players did a good job with that too, trying to transition from those different role changes. And, that's really about it. So just try to take some questions and go from there. What do we got?
A couple follow-ups on Tavai. One, is this the same shoulder he was dealing with when he came out of college?
It is the same side. Yep.
And then, is there any concern this will extend into the early portions of the offseason program, or is it too early to tell?
Yeah, I don't have any information as far as that's concerned right now with that. Yep.
Did you get any explanation on that long go out of bounds hit? Did they see the guy pushing?
Yeah. I did get an explanation on that. I kind of, I talked to the officials about that. He was pushed out of bounds. I think what they saw, and, it's a good coaching point, I guess, for myself to make sure I tell the players in those situations. As he ran into the player, his arm was up a little bit high in the neck head area. I don't think that was intentional. I think it was based off the push, but still in any accord, we got to try to avoid contact there from that standpoint.
Trying to hold him up.
I don't know if you guys have had any conversations with the Senior Bowl people yet, but you guys could be in a position to coach in that game. Is that something you'd be interested in? What benefits are there for teams that do that, I guess?
I don't have any information for you as far as that's concerned. The Senior Bowl actually run by a guy that I used to work with. So I know the Senior Bowl actually has a lot of great benefits to it. The coaches that have coached it before from that aspect of it. Obviously having the opportunity to spend time with those guys kind of in those settings is great. But, whatever is asked of us, certainly we'll do from that aspect of it and try to, use it to our advantage any way we can.
What are the conversations with Longa and Reeves Maven with, like, when they're bouncing around from special teams to linebackers just out of sheer necessity?
Yeah, and, in different positions within the defense, too. We have a lot of packages that are up defensively, and those guys had to fill a couple different roles, from maybe different linebacker types to different third down packages, things like that, to goal line packages. Those guys they're really good during the course of the week. They really pay attention. They understand that injuries can happen and there could be a situation where they might be up. Obviously, Jalen was playing a little bit more, through last week, and Steve was ready to go, knowing where our depth was with that. Kind of thrust into some action there pretty quick into the game, and I thought those guys did a really good job. But they're very attentive on the sidelines. They're very attentive through the course of the week. I'd say that's probably the biggest part of it is their preparation during the week is they understand that, they might need to go out there and play, and certainly it came up in this game, and they did. And we try to get the practice reps accordingly so they get a couple of those looks they need to see, whether it's in practice or even in the walkthroughs, to kind of make sure that they're prepared and ready to go. But two guys that just really study the game very well from that aspect of it. So don't, we know that when they go in there, the wheels are just going to keep moving forward. And certainly from that aspect of it, I thought they did a really good job. There's a couple of new things in there that we saw that we had to adjust to and kind of, get corrected, plays that maybe they haven't seen before, and some stuff that Denver did that was a little bit different from that aspect of it. But, I think they try to go at it every single play the best they can. It's tough. And then they're running all the special team stuff, and especially in a game like that where, we're just playing those amount of plays. It becomes difficult after a while, but I thought they did a good job.
How tough is it to pick up just for the linebackers to pick up just the concepts, I guess, of this defense on the fly, because you're not playing like a straight 4-3 where you're replacing a middle linebacker with a middle linebacker.
Yeah.
So how tough is that
Yeah.
for you sort of on the fly?
Well, I would say, there's certainly some intricacies to the defense that are difficult, no doubt. But I would say it's something that, again, I think those guys have studied and have practiced and or put themselves in those situations from that to be able to go do it. I'd say there's some things in there that are plays that take some repetition and some time on task that certainly we didn't have at that point, but that's the NFL. We have to be ready to go when that happens, and we have to go out there and try to perform at the best of our ability. So from that aspect of it, again, I think even going back for Steve to last year's offseason, his preparation, his mental preparation as he was pushing through, coming back from the injury that he had, just trying to prepare himself to be in those positions. And certainly, Jalen did the same thing, and we saw that through training camp too. I think where Jalen had a little bit of the advantage with some of the training camp reps that he got from that standpoint, he was able to kind of go in and get it right away, where Steve was kind of still coming back from from the off season. And I think through the course of where we've been this season, Steve has done a good job of taking those reps when he can get in there and get those plays. But certainly game reps are a whole different thing, and that's where you fall a little bit short as far as the amount of guys on the field and who we can play. So that's something we're gonna have to get caught up on here pretty quick.
I don't know if it's about your rotations for the last game, but since Green Bay's playing for something, does that change the way you're going to go in this game? Maybe you want to look at some guys for a little while longer, but since they're actually playing for something, does that change the way you're going to coach this game?
Yeah, I think I'd like to think that we're playing for something every game. That's my mindset. We're trying to play to go win. Doesn't matter what the situation is. Doesn't matter what the opponent's playing for. Doesn't matter anything other than we're trying to go out there and do the best job we can to give ourselves a chance to win. We obviously know we have some moving parts. We got a little bit of things up in the air from the roster or the injuries or whatever it may be, or different people out in the field. But from our standpoint, we're going to attack this game just like we do every other game. Try to put the best game plan together we can. Try to put the best week of practice and preparation together we can, and go out and give ourselves a chance to win. So we know Green Bay's got a good team. They got a really good team, and they're playing at a high level right now. But we got to go out and we got to try to compete with that the best we can.
Yeah, Kyle Slaughter, obviously he got here late. He's been here about a month. Has he learned the offense enough that if called upon, if needed, whatever, if he's asked to play, does he have enough grasp on the offense to be able to kind of plug in there and play after just a month?
Sure. Well, I think he's done a really good job since he got here of learning, the offense and understanding, the intricacies of what we're doing. But I think right now the biggest thing for the quarterback specifically is that each week the game plan is just learning that week's game plan. That's the most important thing. And I think that's one thing he's done a good job of preparing himself to be ready to go. If something were to happen, and in those situations, we feel confident that if he had to go out there, he'd be able to execute the game plan for that week from that standpoint, certainly.
How's Benshaw coming along? I know he's playing a little bit of a new position at times for you in practice. How would you evaluate his rookie year?
Yeah, I think he's coming along, as we expected, learning obviously the NFL game and playing a little bit of multiple positions for us. He does a good job of moving around, especially on the look teams for us during the week, and giving us some different position flexibility there. And I think that helps his overall development and his growth. I think one of the things he's done an outstanding job is really with his physical training through the course of this season. A lot of young players that we get, certainly coming out of their college seasons, whether they're getting ready for the draft or whatever their training regimen might be, we kind of get them in this, we know they need a lot more from a physical standpoint, especially offensive and defensive linemen. And I think that's something he's worked really hard through the course of this season, is to really kind of change some of his physical traits from that standpoint. And you can see that showing up through the course of the practice week, especially when we're in pads, and we can see some of that contact stuff. So that part of it's been really good. But I think the mental part of the game, and with the offensive line and being able to make that communication and make those calls. So we'll put him at some different positions through the course of the week to see if he can handle that workload and see how it goes. And I think he's done a really good job of that so far. And it's gotten better. And he's the same guy. Every day comes in, he works hard, he's consistent, so you can kind of build on it as it goes. So I think that overall development as a player has been positive. Very good.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay, all right, appreciate it.